Association of Zimbabwe has noted that a myriad of practical marketing trends emerge in the industry due to the changing technological landscape. Further, each year academic institutions conduct researches which never get to to be seen by industry. So the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe then engaged with the University of Zimbabwe, and the two institutions have signed a memorandum of agreement to facilitate and host the summer school, whose aim is to bridge the gap between academia and industry. I can't move, Mr. IT. So MSH intervention, this collaboration seeks to close this gap and provide an interface where industry outlines the practical marketing applications in industry, while the academia share relevant research findings. This interface dovetails with the University of Zimbabwe's transformative journey, where one of its 5 strategic objectives is to develop strategic partnerships, leverage knowledge sharing, resource mobilization, and investment for advancement of knowledge, research, outreach, teaching, and business development. Or the objectives of the business academic interface to provide a platform for academic world to share research insights. This is my last slide. Insights and findings, outputs from their work of research, which will assist industry in decision making. To provide a platform for industry to share practical insights, challenges, and opportunities, as well as new trends, which will open up opportunities for further research. To provide a networking platform for both industry and the academic sector, so as to encourage a consistent flow of ideas between the two sectors, in particular in the business and marketing sphere, to identify research gaps that can create many research questions for master's, doctoral students at the University of Zimbabwe. In conclusion, finally, as I stated earlier on, numerous social scientists have documented the transition underway in advanced industrial nations from an economy based on natural resources and physical inputs to one based on intellectual assets. There is marked growth in the stocks of knowledge, and show that this expansion is tied to the development of new industries such as information and computer technology and biotechnology. The COVID example, if there was knowledge, no knowledge, the whole world would have perished. But people worked hard and saved the world. I was at the mine entry recently, and we are talking about mine entry. Those resources might finish one day, but knowledge economy is important. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dwayne, for the speech. Because of our time, I think I'll take this opportunity to end our discussion for the other 3 presenters. Present each for 24 minutes, and then we'll have the last 5 minutes to take comments from us. So I'll begin with Ms. Chikweta. You can please come forward and give us information.
A very good afternoon to all the leaders in this platform. I know this is a collaborative effort. I want to acknowledge leaders from the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe, as well as the University of Zimbabwe, for organizing such a critical event. I also want to honor great leaders in our midst, Mr. Mandwanda, a leader who has done well in our times, who also ought to be celebrated, because the times we don't celebrate our own, I think we see our work the race for some time, and done well. We have spoken in our colleges around the success stories of change management at Deribot Zimbabwe Limited, and it's a case study that has given elsewhere. So I want to just I will not do slides. I know our time is gone. My name is Clopas Tiketa. I have two persons, one which works in the rural area and the other one which works in town. For the capital city, I will not disclose the rural name. But if you see me in rural there, we can begin to engage around the rural name. Today, I'm speaking on behalf of the Institute of People Management of Zimbabwe, which represents HR professionals in the country. And I also serve the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe as acting director for human resources and support services. So allow me to just speak briefly from my heart because of time about the collaboration that we are looking at, but also expectations of industry from the academia. There is a long history the world over between the collaboration between academia and industry. And it is my submission this afternoon that we need to ensure that we continue to talk, continue to engage, and continue to interface and co-create solutions that will take our country forward, that will take even other countries where we operate forward. One area that I see which we need to attend to as we look at the expectations of industry to the academia is the area around systems. Allow me to start from there. You notice that the world is changing. COVID has taught us a lot of things. And today we used to talk about the future of work. We used to talk about the fourth industrial revolution as if it was very far. But come COVID, we were actually forced to practice many things that we used to talk about. So in that regard, you find that one thing that I realized was we are developing a lot of ICT professionals in this country who are adding value in other countries. But we were just challenging ourselves even in our own circles to say, what do we need to do working with the academia? I think we need to begin to build simulations in that we have to also collaborate with academia. But the idea is to say, how can we build local solutions from the ICT space that would assist organizations to move forward? We could agree on a package, for example, where we say, I know companies at times they are quite confidential, but we could take information from history, which we could utilize for us to begin to build systems that we can test in the markets. For example, enterprise resourcing systems, majority of them, we are today we have a lot of challenges around forex and other things. We need to begin to ask ourselves to say, okay, how do we localize some of these interventions? And academia has to come on board, industry has to collaborate, and they have to co-create systems that will talk to us. One of these days, this country was more like nearly shut down when one of the salary systems more like refused to support the industry in this country. And everyone, I remember talking to one technology company that was saying, where are we? What's happening? Why are we having this scenario when you are there, you have developers that we know have developed other systems? Why is this system being exported when we can essentially we're being imported rather when we can develop something that we can use in the country and also export into other countries? That's one area that I'm looking at. And when we look globally today, people are talking about the metaverse. And the metaverse is upon us. Things are happening. When you look at Facebook, the way it's expanding, it's something else. And we need to develop such systems in our midst. Today, even manufacturing companies are beginning to advance their technology to a greater extent that they're dehumanizing work. One authority actually argues and says, the factory of the future will have two employees, a man and a dog. The role of the dog will be to the role of the man will be to feed the dog, and the role of the dog will be to bar the man from touching the equipment. Which means we are really developing in a great way, and we need to manage a lot of things. So software development has to be done in a great way, and we need to be seeing the academia from all over beginning to develop all systems across sectors to say, what do hardware need, what do manufacturing companies need from a system perspective according to their value chain, and we begin to develop something that will assist us in that regard. So that's one area that I was looking at. The other area that I also reviewed and looked at, I was in the telecom sector. I worked for Econet and Tel1 for 7 years. And one thing that I was discovering is there's an area called revenue assurance. When you're looking for professionals in the revenue assurance space, we are not finding professionals. And there is no event so far where they responded to say, we are developing either a degree program or a professional program that talks around that particular field. And today we are in a challenge. Either we take a person with a financial background and telecoms experience, or we take a technical person who will then also be trained around the financial issues. And that begins to attend to that gap, but it's not attending only to that gap. And we need to rise up and begin to talk around those issues. Today, again, we're talking of fintech issues around the financial services landscape. And you find that we need professionals in that regard, either at regulator level or even at operator level, at bank level, financial service sector. And those are some of the skills that I feel we need to begin to develop and make sure that we're able to push. So we need to have memories of the future. What am I saying by that? We need to begin to imagine the industry that would emerge in the next 20 years. And begin to ask questions around what skills and competencies we need in those years. And as we do that, we are able to develop programs together. So what am I saying? I think we need to meet more frequent than this. We need to find ourselves seated here. Now that Ms. Madwanda is retiring, why not bring him here and sit with you? And he tells you what happens in industry, what are the pain points, and we begin to develop some of those areas. I thought of taking this particular angle and view. I thank you.
Of that presentation. Maybe if you now let's move on to this the human resources for finance, which we call accounting. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to speak on the matter. I'm the CEO of the Institute of Chartered Accountants. We look after 2,500 members who are chartered accountants. I'm a consumer of the Bachelor's of Accountancy degree because we do train 300 students each year. With a complement of about 1,000 students who are going through our training. I would want to agree with what the academics actually industry, where they said, let us do the academic work and you do. I do agree with that concept because my institute trains accountants for the industry and pick up. What we believe is that the university should create an individual who's valuable, which we can then train. And the University of Zimbabwe has been doing so over the years, the product of the University of Zimbabwe itself. So I believe that should be. But I want to also talk to something which is to my industry or my institution. We take graduates after the Bachelor of Accounting. I think it is a really structured number of programs. But we used to have one. I think we've got a few now. We realize that those students are not necessarily equipped to actually focus on accounting because the Bachelor of Accountants degree gives you option when you finish it. You can come into accounting, you can go into directly to finance, you can even do economics. You've got option. But when you come to us, we are training you for what we intend you to practice, which is public accounting and public policy. So we've got an intermediate course which we then for the Zimbabwe theory of accounting, CTA. This is where I think the university and ourselves are not working together. Because this course was offered here at the university as a diploma program, called a diploma of applied accounting. And I think it died in around 1992. And now that program is actually only offered by South African universities. So just imagine we've got 1,000 students who we always have on our books. This course costs around $3,000 US. So we're looking at about 3 million annually. Over 10 years, that's 30 million. Over 20 years, double that. So that program needs to find its way back into our local universities. The skills to teach are here because we now have a private tutoring. So that is the key message which I wanted to deliver. But it doesn't mean that we're not doing anything about it. We have already approached the university to look at how we can actually take that up. Discussions are, but I'm saying when it doesn't happen, you come and ask us what happened, so that we actually push it some of the way we are. So that was the core message which I wanted to do, which is that the academia is doing well to actually develop our graduates, but what we need further to be practical are an intermediate, which is offering professional courses after the bachelor's degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marisoda. May we give you another round of applause? Now we move on to our last speaker for the day, who is Awodera, the Market Association. May you please support? Let's give him a round of applause. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to say what was observed. I think the speakers before me mentioned quite a number of detailed issues. I'm going to speak from a marketing background, given my profession as well. I think the number of things that through collaboration with both academia and industry can achieve, but I want to focus on certain particular skills that in as industry we expect, particularly from your student, probably your greatest stakeholder within the institute. Now, I've got about 10 points that I'll just quickly run through my expectations. Some of these will still go through my mind in terms of how, as academia, we are going to implement, but I'll still talk about them. So I think number one, related to what I do, is communication skills. Basically, we expect that any individual coming from academia should possess good communication skills if they expect or join industry. All the complicated theories and laws that we teach public of no use, the candidate cannot communicate. An interview process at the time, first process that you have to achieve for you to enter industry. And if you cannot express yourself fully, it makes for a very difficult task for the individual. In our case as Zimbabwe, a basic grasp of English language and ability to speak many different accents becomes a preferred nature for employers. Number two is knowledge beyond academia, or if I can call it knowledge beyond the textbook. By this, I'm saying that organizations will often look for individuals who can go beyond and think rightly. You need logical and think intellectually. Restricting yourself to academic knowledge or book knowledge does not make you a good leader in industry. An ideal candidate, especially for global firms, you probably need to think like an innovator, like an entrepreneur, and therefore you also need to try to innovate and invent in ways and manners that benefits industry. Think of the greatest challenges that we face as men. Try to deal with those problems like energy crisis, the limited resources that we see. And by this, as a quick examples, we've got companies in our economies and world over who have been created out of nothing. Companies like Uber, companies like Airbnb. At Airbnb, the individuals managed to realize that the biggest problem that they were solving was accommodation. But as an institution, they were able to think out the box and say, how do we provide accommodation but still hold zero asset in terms of property? So overnight, Airbnb became the biggest property company in the world, not owning any property. Uber has become the biggest taxi company in the world, but it owns zero taxi. So it's the ability for you to go and think beyond the text. The ability to lead, and what I would agree with me. While many graduates who score very well in their classes, very few who become or are able to become leaders. Most graduates today will probably just follow by the great minds that we have seen in the past. For instance, Albert Einstein. Therefore, if you wish to be hired by leading companies, you also must possess the ability to lead. During the interview process, for instance, we expect candidates to be able to show certain leadership characteristics and criteria that they show in simple group tasks and simple tasks within the classes that they've managed to lead. That's what we've approached. In the day we're living in the current economy that we're living, it's not a positive approach. We certainly fail. And therefore, we also expect that as academia, your students and your processes provide a path that is followed, ability to follow so many challenges and to possess the courage to face challenges. I don't know how you can teach that in academia, but you need to be able to groom individuals who possess the character to be able to take on industry and economic challenges. We also need to be able to have an updated or at least be able to live within an understanding of the latest technology. The great risk of being in the field of technology is that technology existing today will tomorrow become obsolete. 10 years ago, we didn't have companies that I talked about, your Ubers. 10, 20 years ago, we didn't have companies like your Apple, but they dominate what's happening in this world. And therefore, your ability to be able to see beyond what is happening today from a technology point of view speaks volumes. I was in a banking environment. Today, we talk about banking 4.0. Banking 4.0 speaks to artificial intelligence, business intelligence, marketing, social media influence, mobile money. And I bet you half of the jobs I've mentioned now were not there 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we didn't have teams of marketing managers. 5 years ago, we didn't have people in industry looking at business, looking at artificial. Today, we have got what we call artificial bots. We respond to individuals' queries and inquiries 24/7. If industry and academia can start thinking through that, it makes for better candidates. Ability to multitask. Again, it's something that academia needs to think. How do you enable students to think and be able to multitask as you go. The focus is well focused at the Thank you, Mr. Tawoze. May we give him another round of applause? I think it is really helpful. Let me just summarize some of the key points that I wanted. Make it by our. So at the same time, may you also pick up on it that we want to also there. In the meantime, also, we do make a new camp for the situation. Any questions that we have to ask again over here? Thank you very much. I think from the presentation, there are 3 points that I think which are important. The thing that they need for us to do, make sure that we have this official relationship, which means that maybe academics is there in the industry, we really need to sit down and find common ground so that we can then wait towards establishing memorandums of memorandum of understanding or memorandum of agreement. So that's very important. We also highlighted that knowledge generation should be collaborative. So I think that would actually happen very well in an environment where we have this memorandum of understanding, memorandum of agreements. And then lastly, he also talked about industry, grumbling about why universities want to occupy this space occupied by industry. I think that's a key issue that we take out and probably way on so that we can understand why industry thinks that we want to encroach into that. We should balance. For me, Chiketa highlighted he highlighted that there's also need for collaboration between academia and industry. And in particular, I think he highlighted that there is need for us, maybe people in academia, to work towards building local IC for enterprise companies. That not to rely on platforms that are developed elsewhere in other countries. Because we tend to need consumers of what is in other countries rather than things that is local. And from Mr. Disposa, he developed on the issue of the diploma in field of accounting, which is a postgraduate diploma in accounting that is to a part their training to become a CA or a chartered accountant. And the that it's only universities in South Africa. Maybe one of the things you need that is offering that diploma. Yet universities are using also. And so why should we then use our foreign to pay for the future for that program when we expect for needed facilities for the modules for the so I think that's a key takeaway that we have and then lastly from Mr. Awodera, he listed a number of skills that either we expect for our graduates beginning with communication. That is very, very important. We need to channel graduates who can communicate. Graduate with knowledge that is applicable to the well, knowledge that is beyond what we teach for. And we also talked about the issue of leadership, that we should find ways of ensuring that when our students give university, they get our leadership. When we go out there, when they are maybe the job that is the job, but they are leaders, so they know how to do that. Now I can come to ask now important if we have any questions, maybe any questions that you want to direct any of speakers that we have. Yes, I can see the hand at the back. I can see two hands there. Maybe we can just take three. Okay. So after the two people up there are asking or commenting, if we can also get the mic here because we have Professor Chanda, who also wants to pray. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Nashi. I'm a technical student. I started for politics. I will talk from my academic or student perspective. In as much as we try to employ education 5.0, we as students, we are currently asking the university to consider what is called industrial attachment, because that is the key point of the base where we can attain or grasp some concepts and skills, so that when we graduate to be able to, get into the research of companies and stuff. All those come from the experience that we have in the industrial attachment. What we are doing in the education pipeline, there are some of the programs which are being denied in industrial attachment. So, in as much as we want to improve education 5.0 to where we as the ambassadors of the so-called education 5.0, we need to take note or take into consideration or account of the industrial attachment, which makes us equipped for the industry. Thank you.
Let's communicate or let's phrase our question in such a way that we can communicate in a minute or less. Thank you.
I would like to extend following what Mr. Tawagera said about the students that need to come out from the education system. I believe that it would we would be closer to have such students if universities perhaps work on their level of testing, because testing is mostly focused on recall. And so students will focus on what will help them to actually graduate to passing exams. And to pass exams, you need to be able to remember things that are in textbooks, things that are on the internet. And now we are in an age where information, there's so much information, and you can get it at your fingertips. And so perhaps it's more important that people know how to use this information and have it readily available. And exams are in such a way that you actually have the information and it's like in industry already, instead of taking away all the information so that you have to, as a student, focus on cramming, trying to remember things that are already there. And when you get to industry, that's not what you need to actually be doing. Thank you.
I don't want to take you for yours. The first thing that I wanted to understand from those in industry
why is industry uncomfortable with the academia going into space? Because this is directly where 5.0 is going. We are going into industry. So we might as well get a round table and understand each other. Because that's where we are going. That's why we have industrial parks. That's the space for industry. That it was before, but we have gone in. Then the second issue is what my students there are saying, that we won't fit into industry, we won't fit into industry. We no longer want you to fit into industry. We want you to go and create new industries. Are the industries that have brought us where we are. So we will have our traditional industries, but we also want to create new industries on another line. So it's a space that the industry and the academics need to really dialogue some more. Maybe as leaders in industry, you can come to the university with the faculties and the deans, and we sit around a table and see how we can share this space. Because maybe academia went into this space without consulting, but we are there, really. It's going to be difficult to kick us out, because that's what we have been mandated to do. Then, I was thinking this thing would begin with the answer, but let me try the answer. The student who says the method of examination. In education 5.0, we are getting rid of that. We want you to be assessed by doing things. That's your examination. The problem that we are having are the professors. They don't want to leave that because it's comfortable for them. Because they have to design new methodologies. We want you to go to industry and see what industry is doing there. And not just blame industry. And innovate new ways of doing things and get your examination mark. Rather than going into the great hall. We have been saying that it's going to be a process. I want you to understand that it's going to be a process. We have been training staff to diversify methodologies, to diversify assessment, and that's where we are getting there. We are going to get there. Some have taken that on board, some are dragging their feet, but we will be there. Internship, I think it's up to your discuss to acquire those skills, because industry also still has valuable skills that you need to step on to go into the future. Thank you.
Thank you to our presenters. We have 1 minute each. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes. Right. So I think my first comment is I need to put this into context and say all the points I raised are not merely meant to create a good perfect for industry. But if you look at all the points I've raised, they make up for a good innovator, a good entrepreneur, and somebody who will sustain themselves on their own. And now responding to Professor, I think my humble opinion around industry and academic collaboration really is industry probably will have a bit of discomfort when you start competing 1-for-1 in the market. Probably expectation is around the fact that because you're academia, you lead in research, in innovation, and in development. Therefore, if a university has got a farm, I don't expect their meat to compete one-on-one with industry meat, or their milk production to compete one-on-one
with dairy board in the OK supermarket. Our expectation is your farm operates and runs around innovation, around teaching, and the same for your for your academic hospitals, your academic labs. But the moment the academic hospital starts to compete with an industrial hospital for clients and billing from a profit and loss, that's where you get the friction. But there is need for collaboration because industry will always look towards academia for research, for new ways of doing things. And therefore, if the relationships is kept mutually at that level, there should be no problem. Thank you. You need to talk because we are there.
My contribution, I think I wanted to just talk to the same topic a little bit about the industry and academia. In my view, there should be encroachment because my fear with academia encroaching, it narrows its mandate. Every industry has got specific requirements. Let me comment from a commerce perspective. You're training someone in Bachelor of Business Studies. That person has got maybe 7 special areas of specialization you can actually do. If you then narrow it to say it's a Bachelor of Business Studies in that, and in that, and in that, you are narrowing the scope of the student. He will not get the multi-skills that the original bachelor was meant to give him. It then has a narrow focus. So when they get out, they might actually miss opportunities in others. So it might work in maybe industrial and maybe engineering or other. But when we're dealing with commerce, for example, we need someone who's broad. I want someone who understands. I want someone who understands 14. I want someone who understands all those subjects they do, the 15 of them. And then we narrow it into 4 subjects because I want him to focus on this area. So my fear is that if you then break down the programs, just specifically look at subjects of specialized, you are robbing the student of an opportunity to broaden their knowledge. In my profession, we're actually trying to even open up access to non-accountants to actually do accounts, having the right curriculum. So that every student would write and actually get that. We believe you should just sharpen the student's mind in the readiness, be captured by industry, and then develop it.
Thank you. You have 1 minute or after minutes, you have something to say, sir?
Thank you very much. I think there's no one who's going to kick you out of leadership, but the environment might. Yes, industry is concerned about it and just going to the a specific example that I'll give you. The production of sanitizers during the COVID era. We had a lot of small to medium enterprises who survived on these sanitizers. They survived on manufacturing soap in the backyard and quite a number of products. And then during COVID, universities, they still have money, they started doing sanitizers and so forth. And those small to medium enterprises, they were suffering because they've taken their business out in there.
Thank you. Your parting words? And just a couple of parting words, 30 seconds, sir.
Thank you very much. Difficult for 30 seconds, but let me try. I wanted to just react to what one of the students said. I think it's quite powerful around the assessment models. Essentially, what I was thinking actually before even she commented on our seated here was to say, we need models of education that balance between making people remember and also making people forget. Because the environment we're living in requires people to forget certain things and begin to do certain new ways. So in that regard, I'm just trying to think that when I was just listening to my brother, he was also bring this idea. You look at people like Mark Zuckerberg. People talk about them as cool profiles, but the idea is what pursuing passion. And then at the end of the day, we need to really look around the environment. Let's support the youngsters. I want to see collaboration in industry and academia where we are celebrating innovation beyond building physical infrastructure called innovation hubs. I want innovation hubs to sit in people's hearts more than we could just be looking at the hub that you have developed. And we need to celebrate those, we need to support them, we need to sponsor them. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll agree with me. This was quite insightful, very informative, very educational. Dr. Zondo, thank you so much. Let's put our heads together for that. I would be the first to agree that we didn't do justice for you in terms of time, but I have some very exciting news for you and exciting news for my students. On Saturday, we are going to have a career fair. And the whole day, it's just fun. Students, vice chancellor, and industry. And there's just going to be 2 speeches. And with your indulgence, especially those that spoke on entrepreneurial employability skills and the HR aspect, some of the key questions we want to interrogate on Saturday, which if you are free, I could give you slots, include what are the skills for tomorrow? What are the jobs for tomorrow? How do I package or profile or upskill myself for today and for tomorrow? And how do I target market, prepare myself? I hear there's so many jobs in Australia, but when I try to apply, sometimes I find it very difficult. How do I enter such markets? What skills do I need for such markets? If I want to go to South Africa, start a company, invariably very difficult. How do I enter such space? These are conversations that we want to have, and I'm knocking on your door. Anyone who is very keen, to come on board Saturday, we'll give you a slot between 10 o'clock and 12, and this place will be packed. We'll be very keen to hear what we can say as we prepare them for the market. Otherwise, we move on. You have our program. The next session was supposed to be taken by Professor Malcolm McDonald. Oh, yeah. Don't again sit there and look at me. And you had my request. You're an HR expert, member of council. I will be very grateful to have you come on board, take one session. It will be very exciting. Prof. McDonald, presentation is actually recorded. So I just thought maybe in due of time, we can have those that are in here present. And then, if we're out of time, because at 5:30, there's yet another event out of this venue where we need to move from here to the venue. So we are really hard pressed for time. If we don't have time for Prof. McDonald, we can then give the recorded presentation tomorrow. Yes. Good. Thank you. So the next presentation is again going to be a double header. Industry's symbiotic relationship with academia. We're big guns there. Mr. Mandwanza and Mr. Mandwanza, Dayboard CEO, and CZI President, Mr. Bacheza. These are people that I've watched on TV
very eloquent speakers, very good at synthesizing and compressing their statements in a very beautiful way. They can take a 500-page document and compress it into 5 pages in 5 minutes. So we are going to give them 15 minutes each. To facilitate that section, allow me to invite Ms. Mabika from ZB Bank. Let's put our hands together as our speakers. You can come sit in front, and Madam Mabika, you can take the podium. Another round of applause.
Good afternoon, all. Allow me to say all protocol. Just a quick correction. I am not Mrs. Mabika. I'm actually standing in for Mrs. Mabika. She could not make it. She had several things that came up, and I had to just stand in for her. Allow me to just introduce myself quickly. My name is Pamela Bandura, and I'm the CEO for the Zimbabwe Advertising Research Foundation. And I am part of MAS. I work together with MAS for the senior marketers and for all partnerships and elements that we do in terms of facilitation and moderation. Allow me this afternoon to just introduce Mr. Manduanza, who have already been kind of introduced by a few of the speakers who spoke earlier. Mr. Manduanza is a business executive and renowned industrialist. He is the group chief executive of Daily Board Holdings, a Zimbabwe Stock Exchange listed company, whose main subsidiary, Daily Board Zimbabwe Limited, is a leading liquid milks, food and beverages manufacturer. Mr. Manduanza joined Daily Board in 1979, rising through the ranks to hold positions of factory manager, regional manager, operations manager, and marketing director. He was appointed group chief executive in 1996, driving the transformation of Dairy Board from a loss-making state enterprise to a vibrant, profitable commercial entity, receiving many accolades in his personal capacity and with the company. Some of his iconic achievements are listed, just I will highlight them quickly. He was key in driving Daily Board to be the first successful state enterprise to be privatized. Listing of the company of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange in 1997, with its shares oversubscribed on the first day, and remaining one of the best performing companies on the ZF. Diversifying the entity from being a predominant milk business to becoming more than just milk. He was the inaugural winner of the IOD Director of the Year Award, and he also is the Zimbabwe Institute of Management most influential leaders. His accolades are many, as you can hear, but I want to just highlight that he's also a philanthropist, passionate about education and educating the underprivileged. Some of the work that he has done in that area includes building and furnishing a geography block at Emmanuel High School, also constructing a computer science block at Emmanuel High School, and then building a science lab block at the same school, and then establishing a bursary scheme at the same school for over 40 students. He also paid fees for a total of 50 students from Mazarura Primary School in Nyanga, and he's also a mentor in the African IM Creativity and Innovation Program in senior business executive. Mr. Manduanza is a mentor to many business leaders within our country, and these are just but a drop in the ocean of some of the things that he has done. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce Mr. Manduanza to come forward.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Madam, thank you very much for very generous introductory remarks. I couldn't recognize myself, but thank you for those remarks. I want to think, because this is a university, we are not particularly bothered about protocols. So I will not say protocols or behaved, but go straight to our presentation, because that's what it will be. I take my presentation, I want to be more practical, to focus on areas where I think the academia and business can converge for creation of value. Before I look into my presentation, the construct, the way I look at the issue is that if you look at Africa generally, the reason why Africa is poor and yet it's so rich is because Africa has got so much in terms of natural resources. It has got so much in terms of raw materials produced. We produce commodity products and we export commodity products. We earn less value out of it. If you look at the trade deficit of the country, we import over 7 billion US, various raw packaging, spare parts, etc., per annum. And we export approximately $6.5 billion per annum. So you see the difference between our exports and our imports. Those exports are mainly in raw material form. So Africa has got tremendous potential, including Zimbabwe has, where we can build a new frontier based on value-added products. So that is the concept in the back of my mind, which is influencing my conversation with you this afternoon. I'll be very quick. I need to honor. I've gotten the presenters of these slides, our head of marketing, Ruwa Matambo, who is here with us. She did the work. And then we've got the head of commercial, Primo Chikomo. These are the culprits. So just in case you get excited in my presentation, they are responsible for credit and liability. I also thought, since I'm coming to the center of education, I must impress you by just a little bit of the quotation. You find something, and this is from Harvard Business School. I'm sure you all know Harvard Business School. And really the message which is coming out of there is that the bane of many economies is anchored on competition and parasitism. Either you're parasite, sucking as much as you can for your own benefits and not for the benefit of the other, or you are intensely into competition on diminishing the space. Those are some of the issues we need. The desired future outlook that we need is anchored on mutualism, where academia and the business world find each other. I looked very, very quickly. French enough, when you're sitting here, you have to, okay, fine. We looked at the issue of academia from a practical perspective, which says issues of skill development, adoptive knowledge, promotion of an entrepreneur. These are issues which have already been spoken variously by the guys who have spoken before me. So I don't want to repeat that. Let me go to the slide, which I think would be exciting for us to have a conversation around. And the ultimate goal that we look for is to ensure that we yield accelerated development and new breakthroughs in areas of education. Let me see if I can ask you this. The ultimate goal is for us to find, commercialization and monetization of ideas. Professor had gone, I wanted to engage her, and I'm still, because you are very passionate on the need to compete. And I posit that competing on an incremental basis is most welcome. But competing on a diminishing pace can never be considered as breakthrough. We need to build the capability to drive the national strategic agenda, Vision 2030. What is going to make this country upper middle income? It can't be on the basis of yesterday. The formula we used yesterday, it can't be. It has to be on the basis of a vision where we look into the future. And the opportunities. There are lots of opportunities, local solution, goods and services, which are commercialized to meet the needs of the people. Rising demand for technology, knowledge acquisition, evolving high competition in the industrial sector, accelerate translation of research into new products. These are the kind of main pillars we see ourselves as driving the future of our economy. What are the challenges that we face? Of course, the vision anchored on 550. It means that we must develop a curriculum that speaks to objectives of education 5.0, being the catalyst for achieving Vision 2030. Ever increasing cost of research, limited funding, volatile market are some of the issues that we are confronted in a real world, which needs to be dealt with. Let me look quickly on the areas where there is potential for collaboration, not for competition, but for collaboration. I look at the areas where I'm much more comfortable. The dairy industry. If you look at the dairy industry, the key issue is that we have shortage of milk in this country. The demand for milk in this country is approximately 140 million. The supply side milk produced in this country is 80 million. The gap between 140 million and 80 million is covered by imports of various raw materials such as powdered milk, ingredients to meet and close that gap. So it presents itself a unique opportunity for linkage between industry and the academia. Now, let us look at some of the issues of concern. The dairy head, the national dairy head has dropped to about 40,000. And yet, at peak in 1991, 190,000 dairy head, producing approximately 260 million liters per annum. At that point in time, Zimbabwe was able to produce for the domestic market and also to be able to export into the region. I remember fondly our own company exporting products to as far as Kenya in Mombasa. You would go to Tanzania and you see our products sitting in those shelves. So clearly, it is telling us of an opportunity zone. In the meantime, because the numbers have come down, the demand of milk is still there, the cost of producing milk. Look at the numbers. Zimbabwe produces 50 cents per liter. That's expensive milk compared to South Africa. South Africa producing at 40 cents per liter. And look at Malawi, 26 cents per liter. Zambia, 43 cents per liter. So from a competitive point of view, we are outcompeted by our surrounding neighbors on the cost of milk. And therefore, it presents itself as an opportunity zone. Let me look at the big numbers. As I've said to you, we import into this country 70 million US dollars per annum. And that presents clearly an opportunity zone. Compare and contrast where is that milk coming from? Mainly from New Zealand, France, Australia, Canada, and the Netherlands. One unique feature about those countries which produces and exports all over. They have a vibrant, very strong research and development driven at the university level, collaborating directly with the industry players, be it livestock, processors, research and development in various ingredients. They are very, very, very strong and powerful. And that is the engine that is driving growth. Closer home, and if you look at Israel, Israel is a desert country, but guess what? They export milk and milk products the world over out of the desert. Why? Because they have such a strong research and development, collaborating, not competing with the industry directly. These are the kind of issues which we think we should emulate to ensure that we move forward. Now, quickly, I'll be very quick because I've been told 15 minutes. I'm sure I'll start 5 minutes. 2 minutes. Thank you. Daily edge, right? The genetics. We need research and development for appropriate genetics. It's an area for study, not for exhausting conversation today, but it's an area we can look into. Look at the aspect of, government has launched the command project on grass so that we feed our dairy cows on grass. The strategic initiative or intention there is that we want to produce milk low cost and high volume. That is what we need to close that gap and to be able to compete and grow, nature and grow our economy. Stock feeds is another area of interest. Research, we used to have Henderson research session just out towards Indura. That the basic infrastructure is still there. Why are we not using it in collaboration between business and the dairy sector? Because it's a low-hanging fruit. I have cited New Zealand for your own learning, and you can see very clearly that it has grown its export base to over 2 billion per year. That is massive. It will solve your problem that scatter if we could generate 2 billion for the dairy industry, that's doable. So let me quickly run because of time. Ingredients. We are importing 10 million US per annum of ingredients. You know what? The ingredients, including those which are found in Zimbabwe. Things like baobab, moringa, even moringa and others. We are now importing it as a finished product into this country. Criminal, isn't it? And they present an opportunity for collaboration, not for competition. There's lots and lots of things which I've said there, but I can't run away from mentioning, my head of marketing told me I should. Recently, we've just launched a baobab-based product, Cascade Baobab. And I can tell you, the demand for it is completely overwhelmed. And the main ingredient is a local material, mauyu. That's the local ingredient. So harnessing our local ingredient in value addition, and beneficiation is the way to go. The other very important area of interest, we import in this country approximately 448 million in plant and equipment. Approximately 5% of that, 25 million, is spent by industry importing various components for servicing these equipment we buy. That is an opportunity zone for industry and academia to collaborate. HIT, Kwepe, Chinoi, University of Technology can harness those areas and begin to import substitute. And so that is the way to go. I will continue to run very fast. We are importing on packaging material 27 million per annum. And again, it is an area where we can collaborate and begin to substitute import of packaging material so that we can generate those produced in Zimbabwe. Between January and April this year, processed exports increased by about 41%, which is 24 million from about 17 million the previous year. We can do better than that. We can do better than that if we can address the issues which I've already alluded to. But the key issue is, if we are going to win into the next frontier, the first thing that we have to accept, the boundaries have been broken. It remains an image, imaginary. We no longer have the Zambezi. We no longer have the Limpopo. Technology has taught us that the boundaries have been broken. At the company level, you still remain in your localized research and development, thinking that what I'm doing is only known by ourselves. Technology has moved on because the next frontier for growth is going to be driven by digital and data. Those are the key drivers which will make a difference as we move forward. Madam, I will conclude because I've been forced to talk short. Let's situate the strategic objectives that we want to achieve. Import substitution, value addition, export growth, food security. If you look at those four, import substitution, export-led growth, that is what made Rhodesia under total sanction to build the most robust economy, second only to South Africa. We're still beneficiary of the vision and the foresight of yesterday entrepreneurs, entered on import substitution, export-led, value addition, food security. And I conclude, Madam Chair, and say if we address those issues, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. I'm persuaded by the strategy articulated in a book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. Scale up value proposition, reduce cost, you do it via the innovation, the research and the development, which is the innovation hub. And therefore, I believe this occasion is befitting to enable us communicate business and the academia. There is a lot of space. We don't need competition. We need collaboration. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manduanza. A lot to think about there. And I think just from a perspective of academia, so many opportunities that have been outlined. And so I would like you, even as we move on to our next speaker, I would like you to just jot down some of the questions that you would like to pose to Mr. Manduanza, which I will give you an opportunity just after our next presenter comes to present. So jot down something, but I think for you as a student, there was so much there, not just for you getting into industry, but even while you are within the institution where you are, what can you do? How can you begin to think so that you can then capitalize on the opportunities that are lying ahead of you? Thank you so much. Can we give him another round of applause? Okay, we move on quickly to our next presenter. His name is Mr. Kurai Macheva. And Mr. Kurai Macheva and forward-thinking business leader who applies systems thinking for results. He is a solution finder and a keen sense of the bigger picture kind of person. He's currently the managing director for Manika Board and Doors Private Limited. And in terms of some of the experience he has within the industry, he has been the president for the CZI Manika Land from 2007 to 2009. He also was the VP for CZI National from 2010 to 2012. And he has also been the CZI Energy and Environment Committee Chair from 2013. Can I ask you all to put your hands together as you welcome him to come forward?
Good afternoon, all. In the industry, we don't have so many protocols, so I will skip that. Whatever we do, I know we talk of Vision 2030 and DS1, but when we look at our lives, there are these what we call the Sustainable Development Goals. We can argue that they've been developed somewhere, but they apply to us as well. If you look at the SDG number 1, which says no poverty, it applies to every form of life. It says zero hunger. Number 2, we need to provide clean energy. We need to provide clean water and good sanitation. So whatever we are talking about, these things we need to deliver to ourselves as human beings. Then we can say we are developing. So whatever research that we are talking about, whatever collaboration that we are talking about, we need to deliver on these key fundamentals. So tracking the intersection of industry and the academia for innovation and the competitiveness of industry is critical for delivering what I have talked about. Industry and academia are critical ingredients to develop capacity, skills, and think tanks that enable effective innovation, competitiveness, industrialization, economic development to achieve those sustainable development goals that I have talked about. Industry supports a knowledge-driven economy and the symbiotic relationship aimed at helping to address some of the challenges that either party is facing. I will list some of the challenges being faced by industry. 1, there is lack of skilled personnel. In the afternoon or in the early morning when the Minister of Higher Education was talking here, he talked of the skills gap in certain areas, like in technical skills, 3%, 4%, 95% gap. It is a serious issue that we need to work on. We talk of in manufacturing. We need industrial and manufacturing skills. We need mechanical skills. And those areas are seriously underskilled. The other challenge that we have, Mr. Mandwanza was talked about it, outdated machinery and technology. Industry is using outdated machinery and technology. Some of the technology being used in industry dates back to colonial times. This hinders our industry to produce efficiently. The third challenge, lack of vibrant research and development. R&D is critical for new product development in the economy. Zimbabwe industry has been lagging behind compared to other countries in investing in R&D. Challenges that are faced by academia. 1, tailor-making curricula to be able to respond quickly to the needs of industry. Having students absorbed into the industry. I know, yes, the focus of Education 5.0 is to develop them to be future employers. But there is also a certain percentage that to work for those who create employment and work for others. Poor knowledge of industry requirements and limited opportunities to help address these industry challenges. What is the role of academia in addressing industry challenges? As I said earlier, tailor-made curricula to suit industry needs. Academia must work hand in hand with industry to design a curriculum which addresses the needs of industry. Zimbabwe has been experiencing skills flight, which has left our industry vulnerable. Also, coupled with the changing times, training of graduates must also evolve to produce high-quality graduates. Research and development. Academia must partner with industry to do extensive R&D in areas such as new products development. Mama Mtwanza has been harping about that in the dairy industry. Cost saving and efficient technology product improvement. Also, research on how we can improve Zimbabwe doing business environment. Solutions to the current immediate crisis, the current crisis for Zimbabwe. It needs brains that come out of here to have the solution around that. The role of industry in addressing academia challenges. One, employing university students. Industry must offer internship and apprenticeship to students so that they will have an appreciation of what industry requires. The experience will be valuable and it will be crucial in their quest to solve industry challenges mentioned earlier. Two, funding R&D, innovation and industrialization. Industry must fund innovation, R&D by university. Funding is crucial in R&D and innovation, and without it, all the intellectual resources at universities will go to waste. For instance, in 2021, total spending on research and development at Samsung Electronics amounted to $19 billion. That's a massive investment. We also need to outsource as industry innovation solutions and problem solving intervention to academia. You are there to really provide these solutions as long as we work together to solve the problem for industry. With these few remarks, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Macheva. I think he emphasized a lot on some of the gaps that I within in the industry right now. And I mean, what really hit home for me, there are three elements that you mentioned, which has to do with the skills gap, the research, the R&D gap, and then the poor knowledge of industry that can actually be addressed even by the academic. So I think opportunities again are there, even from what you were saying, in terms of tailor-made curriculums, but not just that, even other opportunities that have to do with you, the students, being offered opportunities within industry. So yeah, let's just give him another round of applause for an excellent presentation. Let's move on now to our questions. Can we have your questions from the floor? I think we'll take 3 questions. Please just indicate who you are directing the question to. I don't know if you have someone who can mic so that we keep you moving. Anyone with a question out there? For our 2 speakers. Can we have a mic over there?
Thank you very much, Solicitor and
Thank you to the two presenters. My question is directed to Mr. Manduan. I'm just curious, why industry? I'm not understanding with this, I didn't sue. But my thinking is we've come to this position. Have made us come to this position. Because there is the condition can demonstrate that the industry is not able to provide sufficient all that is needed. So I'm not sure if there is the industry so saturated that other players will not come in. So I'm not understanding the problem. At the same time, I also want to praise him for making reference to the leadership. I have browsed through it. I didn't read the entire book, but I think it's very important because what I picked up for me is that you don't necessarily need to compete, but to create a new space in the market. You are creating your own niche. But so in terms of what is coming out of universities, I think students, graduates, who have potential to have new avenues for themselves without necessarily competing with this industry. I may sound like I'm conservative, but I think the point is why is industry not interested in university in part of but then at the same time
Thank you. First and foremost, if any of us came out suggesting that we don't want competition, certainly that was not the spirit. Probably it was a slip of tongue, because we know competition is the ingredient for economic growth. We know that. What we are saying is that the partnership between, remember, it's a symbiosis between the academia and the business world. How can we harness the opportunities from the academia via research and development and the opportunities at business level so that we can create a multiplier effect and incremental growth? That is what we are asking for. We are saying that it is a waste of resources to continue to compete ourselves amongst the same activities without creating incremental growth. And I think you're teaching at academia level, you are teaching about growth. That's fundamentally what we're saying. We would be very happy at the dairy industry sector, where I'm familiar with. If you can come up with a new plant, but you must understand the value chain, which speaks of milk production. You produce that milk, process it into cheese products, which we are not producing, perhaps products which we are importing, that's incremental. And it's an import substitution. You can produce powdered milk. I told you we are importing about 70 million per annum. That becomes your turnover. Produce that powdered milk, and you have got suppliers ready-made, and it's a low-hanging fruit. That is what we're talking about. I can go on and on, but the long and short of it, we are not averse to competition. In any case, Africa Free Trade Area is beckoning. 2024, the borders will be open. So to talk about not wanting competition, that's being very naive in my mind. And so Africa Free Trade Area is coming, and they know no barriers of entry whatsoever. What is important is, how do you produce competitively and be the preferred supplier of a solution? That's what we're talking about.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nandiwanda. I think as you were walking off from the podium, the last statement that you actually mentioned was the fact that collaboration, not competition, is key. I really thought that. So I think all the collaboration bits you are also talking about all those various elements that have to do with value addition, that then empower you. Thank you so much, sir. Let's have the next question. We'll take 2 more questions and then they'll just.
We'll take one.
Oh, we'll take one. Madam, you had your hand up. Can we have someone just give her the mic, please?
I have a mic. I have a mic. I appreciate the symbiosis that was articulated so eloquently by both gentlemen. So I said collaboration more so than being a best to competition. So in a lot of areas that were highlighted there, so that's very exciting and we look forward to that. I was curious about new product cascade. We have a similar product which I won't disclose right now from Pharmaceutical Science, but was curious about how do you ensure products consistency in terms of flavor. It's coming from a natural product like bubble foods, and them testing differently across different provinces. Thank you.
It's a very good question. It's about the source of your raw material. Now, if you look at our country, there are certain areas that produce the baobab fruit itself with a very nice palate taste, and then there are certain areas because of the geographical nature, whether it's natural region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, producing a fruit that varies, that has got a bitter kind of lactic acid taste. So the fundamental issue is the organization of the powder or the fruit from the various rural areas. And it goes through a very rigorous research and development, quality control checks to ensure that it meets the key parameters that you need. That way, it helps to minimize the variation in your palate. As you would also know, from a research and development perspective, there are certain ingredients we also put into the powder to make sure that you stabilize the pH of your powder. Therefore, it does not impact undesirable characteristics in the finished product. I mean, I could go on and on, but we've got a very, very robust quality control, research and development to ensure that we are compliant with the characteristics that we need.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manduanza. I think what remains for us, because of time, is just for us to say thank you to the 2 gentlemen, Mr. Macheza and Mr. Manduanza, for the excellent presentation. Can we give them a round of applause?
What amazing presentation. Thank you. Madam, thank you, gentlemen. Right, we have 15 minutes to the next event, and it takes about 5 minutes to walk across. So, what we're going to have is Anamaka Mwado, especially 7 days. Finally, not the visa. In English, synopsis or summaries. Prof, do you want to lead the conversation? Please come through. It's 3 minutes each for synopsis, and then we go to the next section, where we are going to have the way forward. That slot is going to be made by Ms. Munya, who also just give us a summary for 15 minutes. Right, Prof. That's good, Mr. Synopsis.
Good afternoon. Good evening. I'm doing the afternoon session. Good evening. Thank you, Event Director. May you please allow me to acknowledge in absentia our guest of honor, the Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, and our Vice Chancellor, and the Executive. With me is Dr. Marawanika, who is going to be presenting on realigning industry with the academia, models for generating shared knowledge for the advancement of industry through innovative research. And Dr. Marawanika, in short, I can say he has a wealth of experience, both as an academic and also as an entrepreneur. He has been involved a lot in the industry as a marketing director for a number of companies, as a general manager, a chief executive officer in a number of companies, and also as a professional training associate. And he's also, in terms of academia, he's a lecturer, taking that is a master's in business administration here at this university, and he's also a lecturer with a number of international universities. So, without further ado, I'll call upon Dr. Marawanika to come and present. Let us give him a pam-pam.
Okay. That's the problem of presenting last when the hall is now empty. Okay, I am going to be brief because I was meant just to spark a discussion between the academia and industry. And most of the areas have already been covered. What I want to do is just briefly mention the benefits of collaboration. To industry, I agree with Manduan. We go back a long time. We actually started talking about the same time. That's why I retired in this year. I retired about 1.5 years ago. So we actually doing about the same time. To industry, that there is no conflict really. The industry needs universities. Universities need industry. I think people misunderstood what my friend Godfrey said. He was talking about the small companies, which were, SMEs, which were worried about investing. But the big companies actually complaining that the university is not involved enough. That's the complaint from the big companies. The university is not involved enough. I'm talking from experience of working about over 30 years in industry at senior level, and having been in university world for the past 16 years. I know what happens in both areas. There is no communication between universities and the companies. The companies I went for, I don't remember during the past 35 years talking about working with universities. And I also don't remember during the past 16 years, I actually worked as the director of Graduate School of Business. It's been doing this for 3 years. There's no communication between universities and industry. So that is where the problem is. But the benefits are there. One, to industry, there's access to research results. There are a lot of research results which companies have. The Moringa, which was being talked about, there is a student at Bindura University who got an innovation on that. It needs commercialization. But the problem is universities, they don't talk to each other. We don't talk to each other. And because of that, we are in our silos in universities, industries, they actually don't talk to each other. So there is that benefit. The second one is that if the industry harnesses university research, that's cheap technology. It's cheap technology. I will tell you what I went for multinational corporations like Castro and Dunlop. It's expensive to pay for royalties. It's very expensive. So research results from universities, that's cheap technology. And now to universities, what do you get? University, obviously, universities, if you collaborate with companies for your research, there is sustainable funding. Universities, I know they are always complaining about no funding for research. if you collaborate with companies, you get funding. As long as your research is not just for promotion or for you to be promoted as a professor, but as long as that research is industry specific, the company that you are researching for benefits from that. Industry is prepared to pay for that. Also, to universities, if you collaborate with companies, you get to know, you can industry insights. You actually know what industry wants, so that you don't just, I supervise a lot of students. I think I've got more than 200 MBA students here, the more than 650 students. But you find some of the topics there are only meant to get the qualification. They have nothing to do with actually what the problem that needs to be solved. So that's one of the areas where we have a problem. And if you place students with relevant organizations, you actually get to know the key areas that are required. So let me just make a brief situation analysis with regard to the issue that needs to be solved. Opportunity for university. If you go into the shop today, most of the products you see, fast moving consumer goods, are foreign. They're foreign brands, dishwasher. You go there, you find your washing powder. You go there, you find your fabric conditioner. Our university is not capable of researching that. Agents say that technology is not given, it's stolen. How is it stolen? In industry, you can ask me, you know what we do? You go and buy a computer's product, dissect it, and see what is in it, and make your own. Why can't our university do that in collaboration with companies? Why can't we look at how is comfort? What are they in comfort? What is it there? We're now waiting for Liver Brothers, Unilever to produce comfort. We're waiting for Procter & Gamble to produce taste of. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? So those are the areas where we don't even go very far. We've got a lot of products that you buy every day. Toothpaste. Can our university do that? So there are areas of cooperation. Mazoe, for example, who owns Mazoe? A lot of people think actually it's owned by Zimbabwe. It's not owned by Zimbabwe. It's a Coca-Cola brand. 2019, Kyoto suspended producing Mazoe. Why? Because Coca-Cola, they failed to pay $10 million to Coca-Cola International for increases required to produce Mazoe. Yes, we cannot produce milk, but the orange crush. We wait to import raw material from the United States. That is where investors come in and to look at what can we do locally. It's SMEs. There's no problem. If you look at Japan and Singapore, for example, small companies exist side by side with large companies. Actually, they subcontract small companies. So the little cars, the little trucks you see on the road being bought by people, 1.5 ton trucks, those belong to small companies in Japan. There are so many of them. They actually have a policy which actually supports small companies, and they exist side by side with the likes of Samsung. So there's no problem there. And opportunities to industry, which are in universities. I told you, I didn't know until I started working for a university, going into Senate, there are so many inventions that are sitting with universities, which cannot be commercialized. Because companies do not know about it. There's no dialogue between universities and the industry. So there is need there for dialogue, commercialize those inventions are there, and also you should have collaborative research so that your research is based on industry needs. This was just meant to provoke a dialogue. I finished there with questions like how we commercialize these innovations, how do we university produce industry-specific research, and how can we collaborate to make the country benefit from the research from investment centers.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Maranka. Can you please give him another pom-pom? So in short, I just managed to get from him about the three C's. That is communication between universities, then universities, industry. Then he emphasized on collaboration. And for him, collaboration, we can lead to commercialization. And that is why he was calling for dialogue. But as a result of dialogue, that is when can we identify the societal needs or the needs of the nation. We can then lead to the creation of opportunity. So on that note, I think Dr. Magre, you can just say just a statement worth of our time. Just a minute. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Machingur. I think the key message really is about collaboration. We need to engage more as universities and institutions of higher learning with, I think I can do without this, with industry. I think the point I'm getting here is there seems to be this gulf between institutions of higher learning and industry in terms of the expectations. So my point really is maybe let's define the rules of engagement. If we are to collaborate more and engage more, what exactly are we supposed to be doing? I think we should also challenge this statement that we have. I think each year semester dissertations are written by students. This is whatever. There's this statement that I've often seen, and I think you'll agree with me, in partial fulfillment of the requirements. I think it's high time that we should now challenge that statement. It should be in full fulfillment of what industry requires, rather than us saying just a certificate. So the starting point is actually to have a critical dialogue in terms of us maybe having an audit in terms of what is really required by industry. Yesterday, I think there was a presentation which excited me very much by a student from law, where they are talking of a platform linking the lawyer and the client on the other side. And can't we start thinking about such kind of a platform where we engage industry, posting what they expect us to do as institutions of higher learning, and we respond through the researches that we do to our students? That's my point.
Maybe through your indulgence, Registrar, I can entertain a comment or a question. Okay. Go, Mike.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. I think I'm very happy. The question I needed to ask in the previous question that I actually answered. I was going to ask, what is industry role in the inventions or the innovations that we have here at institutions of higher learning? So I think Dr. Mara really hit the head for what was really, I was interrogating in my mind. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So at this moment, I can give to Director of Ceremony, that is Registrar, our Registrar, Dr. Marabi. Thank you.
Professor, I think you have been exceptional. I work with you more and more in this kind of business because you know how to. Right, as we come to the end of our program, allow me to invite Madame, what's her name? Zimunya. Is she around? Madame Zimunya, from the look of it, she looks like one who is very capable of summarizing. And let's encourage in that direction.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies, from the morning when we started the program up to now.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. First and foremost, I just want to appreciate everyone who made this day possible, especially the morning session as well as the afternoon session. On behalf of the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe, as well as the University of Zimbabwe, we want to really thank all the panelists that put here. In particular, in the afternoon, I think there's quite a number of panelists that came through from industry captains, as well as those from the academia. When we first spoke about the business and academia interface, I think with Prof. Machungura as well as Dory, this program was supposed to last over a period of 2 days. So what we did today is to sum up, in 2 or 3 hours, something that was supposed to be discussed over a period of 2 days. And I think we can see from what was said today that there's a lot that needs to, there's still a lot that needs to, and so that at least we don't just talk, but to start implementing. So my task is to just summarize and I'll do it shortly. What we've agreed and we've identified from the discussions that came from here was that definitely we need to find a place where we create platforms for dialogue between academia and industry. Secondly, I think we also agreed that industry also needs to play an active role in funding research in academic institutions, whilst at the same time, universities also try to find a way of producing industry-related relevant research. I think we also identified that there needs to be personnel for the future. Instead of possibly just concentrating on what was before, we just need to help the academia looking into the future, looking into new technology, and making sure that the curriculum that is being given in universities relevant. We also say it was also agreed that there is need for academia to identify industry gaps and opportunities. So that at least once we do that, we get new breakthroughs that come from academia. So you can see that it was quite a wealth of knowledge that was discussed here. And I hope next time that we meet, we'll have more discussions to do with this, and then we come up with actionable insights that will be looked into, and that we can always also look at, monitor and evaluate over time to see our success. So thank you very much for all those who come through. We really appreciate this interface and we look forward to engaging further. Thank you.
Did I not tell you? Right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program. What's left for me is just to thank you all for coming through and staying right through to the end of our program. Our sponsors, captains of industry, we truly appreciate you. Now, for those that have been invited to the 6 p.m. Event, we are now progressing for other proceedings to the Great Hall, where our proceedings are starting. If you are from industry, you're one of our partners or sponsors, and you don't have an invite to that event, my Makamre, if you could stand up, please see Mrs. Makamre. I know deans, directors of institute, you are all invited to the event. For my lovely, beautiful, amazing students, your event is on Saturday. So what I want you to do is invite as many people as possible. I would actually throw a challenge to you. If any of you will come show me evidence of having invited 20 people who come through, I will give you an award. As something special for you. So everything that enjoy the rest of the evening. See you tomorrow 8:30. We are up for another beautiful day. Thank you and good evening.